Intimate relationships. Chapter 15. Perfect relationship. How many of us have gotten together in a relationship and tried to work out all the details of how we are going to live together happily? Each person lays out the structure of their data and negotiates their demands in hopes of clarifying the relationship. But what does that actually bring about? This type of negotiation doesn't lead to complete well-being. Instead, it merely leads to more arrangement of data. Many people are yearning for complete well-being in an ideal relationship, but they are yearning for something that no person or relationship can provide. I've never met a single person who has said, "My partner has made me absolutely happy." Even if someone did say that, it would be misleading because complete happiness cannot come from another person. If we begin to rely on open intelligence, we will be released from the melodrama that naturally comes with the yearning to get something from a relationship, and only when there is complete release from that melodrama is it possible to have a truly intimate relationship. From the beginning of our life, we want to belong and be understood. We want to love and be loved. However, that often isn't the lived experience many of us actually have. Even though we have this deep longing to be understood, to belong and to be needed, we so often feel that we haven't yet found it. Maybe we have found the person that we feel we are meant to be with. They are the perfect partner, one who is loving, considerate, and understanding, and there is a very strong connection with them. Yet many of the same feelings we've always had in past relationships may still be present. Fear of abandonment, fear of loss of love, fear of not being good enough, fear of not being young enough or pretty enough or whatever it might be. Many of us bounce around between all these thoughts and emotions in each relationship we have had in life leading up to the present relationship. To be able to see into how we have troubled ourselves with all our ideas about things is very important. The love we are looking for is in ourselves. If we find that love, none of the stories we've had about ourselves or anyone else will matter anymore. When we are able to be happy anywhere, there is no longer a need for a person, place, or thing to deliver something that can never be delivered by a person, place, or thing. From that perspective, all relationships whatsoever are a place of total joy, but that joy is not rooted in the person, place, or thing that is being related to. It is rooted in open intelligence. By the power of instinctive recognition, we reach a place where we feel that we could be married to anyone. That's when we're really ready to get married. When we are able to glide along easily with anyone and everyone in each circumstance that arises, that's when we're really ready to be in a truly intimate relationship. Intimacy as a couple. If two people choose to come together in an intimate relationship, ideally both people would be committed to open intelligence. That commitment to open intelligence really is the best foundation for coming together. Any other context for a relationship pales in comparison to this one. If you are in an intimate relationship with someone and it is only you who is committed to getting to know yourself as you really are and you don't want to leave the relationship, that is perfectly fine. You can be happy as you are, regardless of what is going on with the other person. In order for two people to have intimacy as a couple, first in themselves they have to be at ease with everything that appears, with every feeling they have about the people in their lives, the love, the hate, the ambivalence, bad memories, good memories, the hopes, the fears, the realization that they never got what they wanted out of the relationship. They have to let it be as it is while they maintain open intelligence. Letting everything be as it is quite different from resisting thoughts, trying to change the thoughts, or acting impulsively based on the thoughts. No matter who you are and no matter what kind of relationships you have, you're going to have to face your data. You could live completely by yourself in a cave for years, and all your data would still be there. Whether you are living in a cave or you are out in the world of relationship, your data are still going to come up. Know that wherever you are, there you are. Wherever you are, that's where all your data will be. Intimacy doesn't come about by sharing data. It comes about through the profundity of realizing one's own nature. When we recognize this, then we no longer need to look to other people to fill our needs. We know we can look to ourselves, which means that we can look to our true nature. By the profundity of the practice of short moments of open intelligence, repeated many times, we enter into a realm of genuine intimacy with ourselves and with others, to the point that no one is a stranger to us. We live our lives in a joyful way, no matter what's going on. It doesn't mean that we run around giddy with delight. It means that we have found the deep and abiding joy of our own open intelligence, whatever our outer experience may be. We know that no matter what happens in our lives, we will be okay. Relationship without expectation. We may have lived a life where we tended to get wrapped up in ideas about how we wanted things to be. A very common scenario is that we look for a special someone who's going to agree with all of our data, and we think that when we find that special someone, we will have found true love at last. But then when we actually find that special someone, we discover that things are not as we had expected. We ping-pong between accepting the other person and pushing them away, and we don't find the pervasive equanimity that is possible in a relationship. Entering into an intimate relationship with someone is something to be extremely watchful about, especially because each of the partners is going to be committing so much of themselves to the relationship. It's very helpful to get completely acquainted with our own nature and then decide from there what we want to do about getting together with someone. If we do choose to have a relationship with someone, we don't need to seek anything in the relationship for ourselves. We know that ultimately there is nothing about getting together with another person that can either enhance us or take us down. This is a very, very powerful realization. What is really important to us is to have complete well-being, whether we are in a relationship or not. And this is within our grasp in each short moment of open intelligence. By the power of short moments, we come to know what real love is. Real love does not come about through making a person be a certain way. We don't need to have ideas about any person, either positive or negative. When we start to feel that we are united with everyone, that's when we really have the power to be in true intimate relationship with another person. We find that the love we've been looking for in someone else is really within us. It's never been anywhere else. We could seek for it forever in other people, places, or things, but we'd never find it there. Real love is within our own peaceful nature. Clarity in challenging relationships. Every situation, no matter what it is a training ground for gaining clarity and insight into all aspects of your life, and the situations you're in that irritate you the most can be the best training ground of all. Whatever another person is doing is a perfect opportunity for you to gain certainty in open intelligence, and extremely negative situations are where the greatest fruits of open intelligence are born. They really are. The nastier the situation, the better. When you're in a difficult relationship with people with whom you are linked due to decisions you've made in the past, then it's really important to recognize that you're not a victim of the data associated with the situation. If the person should do things like launching into threatening behavior, trying to manipulate you or overpower you to get what they want, this is just the way it is. And there is only so much you can do about that. There are always going to be situations where people push your buttons, and there is often a retribution process that goes on within us that involves blaming them, making them wrong, and showing what a bad person they are. However, that way of going about things is really very damaging to your well-being. By allowing yourself to get hooked into these negative dynamics again and again, you drown yourself in these data. It is a no-win situation, and it feels totally unpleasant. In the moment that negative thoughts and emotions about a difficult relationship come up, it is important to completely rely on open intelligence without any need to change the thoughts and emotions in any way. You do not need to repress the thoughts and emotions. You simply remain grounded in open intelligence rather than in the data that are appearing. If you hold to open intelligence, then you can see that the thoughts and emotions about the person emerge again and again, and then they simultaneously resolve. If you aren't able to be clear and you are pulled along by the thoughts and emotions, then you'll be off on a trip about the situation, and that won't do you any good. The only way to not be ruled by the negative thoughts and emotions is by relying on open intelligence. That's where your power is. It isn't anywhere else. Most all of us are in relationship with someone else in one way or another, so it's important to gain confidence in our greatest strength so that we can best interact in a peaceful way with other people. This is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. It's in standing firm in what is ultimately true. No one likes to be in situations with extremely negative people, but there are all kinds of ways to live with that sort of situation if it is a part of our lives. We cannot force another person to change their behavior. The willingness to change has to come from within them. For example, we could put someone in prison or otherwise try to alter their behavior, but that would not stop the underlying motivation of someone who is out of control. They need to want to see reality for themselves, in whatever way that may come about. While it is sometimes very difficult to be with the person you are having problems with, you certainly can change your perspective regarding that person. In this regard, you really have to come to your own rescue. There isn't anyone else who's going to come to your rescue. From wide open clarity, you have many more options in dealing with the situation. By securing yourself in open intelligence and allowing everything to be in your face, so to speak, with no need to act impulsively or compulsively, then you become clearer and clearer about what will lead to the best solution. Whatever measures you need to take, you'll see them from open intelligence, not relying on our loved ones for well-being. Many of us have harbored the hope that someday we will achieve the perfect relationship with our loved ones. We may have been looking for that, but even if we were able to find it, we would not be able to totally count on it for our well-being. Not only can we not rely on any of our loved ones for complete well-being, we know that at some point either they will leave us or we will leave them. Even if we have a totally deep connection with a person, there is no guarantee that that person is going to be around forever. Either one of us could drop dead in the next minute without warning. Enjoy everything that is available and at the same time understand its true nature. Know that all of these things that we scamper after, whether it is having the ideal relationship with our loved ones or whether it is in food, money, sex, work, friendships, intimate relationships, having children, pursuing leisure activities, vacations, or sports, none of these things can give us complete well-being. It is not necessary to run around trying to ensure our own well-being and everyone else's well-being, because it can only come from within each one of us. If we are running after all kinds of things, there will be some point where we are exhausted with the running, and we will want to just rest. Unconditional love. Many people believe the best way to have a good relationship with another person is through talking about emotional states. This is a very popular idea, but it is really nonsense. If you are constantly talking about your emotional states with other people and they are doing the same with you, that is definitely not the best basis for a relationship. Instinctive recognition of open intelligence as the fundamental condition of all emotions is the optimal foundation for any relationship. Root yourself there, and you will have an easy go of it. If you need to communicate something about emotions, you can do so, but the conversation will no longer be about the emotions alone. Have you ever been able to get totally clear and connected with anyone through talking about your emotions? Maybe for a brief time it might work and you could feel more connected, but there will always be more emotions to talk about and more things to get clear on. This is an awkward and bumbling way to relate. There's very little that needs to be talked about in the emotional domain because the emotions are only temporary appearances. We don't have to get clear about a lot of different emotional states in order to find love, but if we never realize that, we will be blabbering about our emotional states all our lives. We could sit around and tell endless stories to each other about this, that, and the other thing. For example, one person might say, "I feel hurt when you look at me that way," and the other might respond, "Well, I don't mean to look at you that way, but when I was growing up, no one listened to me, and as a result, I have a permanent frown. We may think that by sharing stories like this, we have somehow come closer to one another and that this sort of relating is the same as intimacy, but it's not. This is not to say that by identifying with open intelligence, we become robotic and do not have any emotions. Rather, all the emotions that arise are seen in a radically different way. No thought, emotion, or experience need obscure the crystal clear love that shines through all appearances. Love is the naturally occurring perfection of reality as it is right here and now. In order to really know what love is, we have to gain certainty in open intelligence to the degree that, no matter what data are appearing, we see them as an appearance of that love. The appearances are not anything to shuffle away, be drawn into, or be indifferent about. They are just the pure presence of perfect love. Once we find this love, we are no longer fixed on changing one another's data or needing to understand our emotional states. We no longer have childish expectations that our romantic partners, friends, or family need to fulfill for us. It's so entirely freeing to gain certainty in open intelligence, because we are able to discover the unconditional love that expresses itself without expectation of return love. True relationship. Sometimes we feel that we need to get into a romantic relationship because if we do so, we will finally have someone to listen to our data. But this isn't what a relationship should be about. We sometimes approach relationships not even knowing that the urge to have a relationship might have come from that disposition of needing someone to listen to our data. We're meant to enjoy each other and enjoy life together and to take care of each other. This is what true relationship is, to bring greater enjoyment to one another, not less enjoyment. By relying on open intelligence, we see people as they are through seeing ourselves as we are. When we see ourselves as we are and we're able to see other people as they are, then we no longer see them as an object that is somehow going to satisfy our needs. We're together with them in an easygoing way, and we are able to be with people in a way that doesn't involve calamity, hysteria, and drama. This is very, very powerful. A lot of times we look for love by trying to arrange a lot of what we take to be loving appearances. We don't really know about love if we only have a description about what love might be. We'll never really know what love is unless we are familiar with our own inner clarity. So often we hope that another person will love us, but fear that they won't. This subtle point of view informs our actions. Our activity may become contrived because it is based on trying to do certain actions that we consider to be loving and compassionate. The relationship is therefore based on hope and fear, hoping that love will happen and fearing that it won't, and needing another person to love us in order for us to feel loved. The data that come from hope and fear are often very common in intimate relationships. When we first get together with our beloved, everything is fantastic. It feels so good. We know there will be nothing like this ever again. We feel like we are the luckiest person on earth. We just want to be together all the time, and there is an openness filled with loving sweetness. But after a while, that can begin to change. There are very subtle data based on cause and effect that come up. The effect is the profound love we feel, and the cause of that profound love is the person we've met. If we think they are the source of the love, then if the love disappears, we will think that they are the cause of the disappearance. When that initial feeling of intense love has diminished, we think that this has something to do with the other person. We might say, for instance, "Well, I think you need to change so that the love can return. If you stop talking to me the way you do, or if you would just remember to put the toilet seat down, then the love would return." We all know what this is like because we've been through it. When we see this type of situation in such a clear way, it seems humorous, but when we're lost in it, it's not humorous at all. When we start to gain familiarity with open intelligence, our relationships with people change. Our relationships are based in the natural responsiveness and natural compassion of open intelligence, and all our relating becomes unconditional. We find in a very natural way that the relationships that we've had don't look the way they once looked. For example, we may have had a lot of psychological labeling with our partner or in our family about who did what to whom and how we ended up being how we are because of what they did. But through open intelligence, we can see this for the nonsense that it is. When we gain familiarity with open intelligence, we move beyond all of the nonsense and we start to see our partner and our family in a new way. Wow. What do you know? They're just like me. All the data streams are just whatever they are. Maybe before we needed something from them, but now we know that we don't need anything from anyone. We have tremendous compassion and connection that we may never have had before. This is true in all relationships, whether they're family relationships, intimate relationships, or just ordinary encounters with people walking down the street. However, that doesn't mean that we're foolish. It means that our actions flow with total clarity. Some situations we go into, others we don't, and this happens in an effortless way. We are not locked into fixed ideas about things. No matter what happens, we rely on open intelligence, and then we know what to do. When all data are outshone, we have mastery over the illusion of data. This is a worthwhile life. Until then, life is fraught with uncertainty because of the perceived need to keep different relationships and certain ways of being in place in order to feel comfortable and safe. It's only when comfort and safety are thrown completely out the window and it all goes pell-mell that everything is seen as timelessly free.